Open debate. Soup and stew are drinks. Is it acceptable to have them in a cup? Soup and stew are not drinks. That's disgusting. They are drinks. Have them in a cup, but they're not drinks. They're liquids. You swallow without chewing. That's a drink. You swallow stew without chewing? Okay, not the chunks of stew, but the broth. We eat soup. We don't say we drink soup. That just sounds wrong. We eat it. It may sound wrong, but it's accurate. No, it is not. I'm gonna go drink some Campbell tomato soup. See? No problemo. No. Is so like a sauce? Is not? And sauce ain't a drink. Okay, hold up. Where you get sauce from? I don't know. Tomato soup, ketchup. There are so many hot takes here that I'm gonna implode. What are we putting soup on top of? On top of a bowl, a cup, I don't really know. Sauce is not a drink because it is meant to be eaten on top of something else. Soup, however, is a solitary experience. Therefore, it is a drink. Okay, tell me that to my friend who chugged mayo. You guys are gonna make me cry, and I cry like 3 times a year maximum. Your friends is not lie and therefore shouldn't be counted. You can't order soup at cafes as a drink. On menus, soup is on the food, is it not? Because cafes are cowards. Soup is for eating. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to the topic of stew. Stew is not a drink. I'm gonna go stew in despair now. You might say stew is not a drink because it has chunks you can't swallow. However, ice water also has chunks you can swallow and it still has a drink. Stew equals drink. Okay, who says I don't swallow ice? I swallow ice cubes and choke on them and cry. Also, soup is a combo of food items. And stew is too. They are foods. So is a milkshake a protein shake in those drinks? Yes, they can be both. Many drinks are combos of food items. Shut the hell your mouth. They're drinks because they're finely blended. And listen. Ice water, only the water is a drink. Soup is finely blended as well. Lies, the carrots, the watercress, the chicken, fight me. If I open a can of Campbell tomato soup, I better not see any carrots flying around there. I just mix it with a can of milk and go ham. Ew, no. What? Campbell's can go drown in cranberries like the one that I always have nightmares about. Campbell tomato soup isn't supposed to have carrots. Duh. Case closed. Soup is not a drink. The broth? Sure, go ham. The soup? I think nah. No, I refuse. Are you gonna go find tomato soup in the drink aisle at the supermarket? Are you gonna go find Campbell tomato soup in the drink section? Because markets are cowards. Because the status quo has not yet been changed. Alright, so is gravy a drink? Gravy is a sauce. And soup is a soup. You don't have gravy on its own. If you're having gravy on its own, then yeah, it's a drink. What the? No, gravy is not a drink. If you're having it alone and on top of mashed potatoes, then it's a drink. I wouldn't do that, but whatever floats your boat. Like a gravy boat. What? It's a liquid that you don't chew and it's a drink. Okay. In that case, many soups are foods. Do you just swallow and gulp the entire tomato soup? Yes, you do. Yeah, you can use a spoon, but you don't have to. It's the same consistency as like a protein shake, which is decidedly a drink. Soups were made as a food. Protein shakes, they were made with the intention of being a drink. What you know is a drink. Yes, they have more sustenance than like water, but still a drink. Something can be a meal and a drink. Clear soups can be drinks, I guess, but green soups, those are... You don't have to eat it with a spoon, though. You can very well gulp it down its own from a cup. Creamy soups are the consistency of a shake and therefore still drinks. Thick drinks, sure, but drinks nonetheless. So if I gulp down, say, rice from a cup, it's a drink? No, because you need to chew rice. Not if I gulp it. Not a liquid. And with that logic, you gotta chew the fruit in the chunks too. No, because ice water is still a drink, and you just have to chew ice. The ice is not a drink. A drink can have chunks and still be a drink, but it's part of it. The ice is a solid part of the drink. And that stew is a broth that's a technically diluted version of the stew part. It's got meat, vegetables, and spices. Case closed. Fine, how about the answer? Just be soup and either a food or a drink. Fine.